Lauren took a deep breath as he entered the unemployment office. He got the money after showing off his prosthetic leg, attending the meeting, and responding to their inquiries. After a car accident, Lauren was struggling to make ends meet while living in a small house. He had worked as a carpenter for years before suffering a terrible accident that cost him his leg. Lauren had a turbulent childhood. The arguments with his sister only got worse as they got older. Lauren had no idea why his only sibling hated him so deeply. When Lauren's sister moved out of the house, she cut off all communication with her younger brother. Lauren had no idea what he had done to earn such vehement hatred. Lauren had played in the American football squad in high school and considered making a living from it. However, he opted for a contract with a carpentry firm. He soon earned a solid reputation as a trustworthy, diligent man in the community. He moved in with his fiancée and her kids after working at the company for roughly 2 years. He had the family he had always desired, even with little money. He had no one to turn to and was always stressed out by his sister. The only relative he could count on was his grandmother. She was a lovely lady who sincerely desired the happiness of her grandkids. Lauren's good fortune soon came to an end. He was driving his vehicle in the rain one dark evening. The road was in bad shape, and despite not traveling at high speed, it was too difficult for him to see and steer. Then everything changed in an instant. He saw a light heading directly at him at high speed as he turned at an intersection. When he realized a car was approaching him from behind, he yelled and honked. Lauren attempted to prevent a collision. Fortunately, the car didn't hit his side of the car directly, but things still went awry when his van flipped over and ended up in a ditch. While lying in the car, Lauren experienced intense pain in his ankle. He heard voices and saw lights. His foot had been entirely crushed in the collision. It took a year, but it didn't get better. At that point, his leg had to be amputated. He consented, and the procedure was carried out. Lauren had no idea what his life would be like moving forward with a phantom limb. Given that he had a family to care for, he felt utterly hopeless. To make things worse, he was laid off and his savings were exhausted. The loss of a source of income cost him his home, and his kids had to go live with their grandparents. Thankfully, life gave them a break and a friend offered them a place. As things got worse, only his mother visited him. His sister never did, neither did his other relatives. Then he got a call from his grandmother's attorney that she had passed. She left no will, and Lauren was instructed to visit her home and gather whatever items he wanted to keep. He was just interested in the books. Unfortunately, the house was robbed and nothing was left. Lauren quickly made a few calls and found out that his mother and sister had already left the house. Lauren was only interested in his grandmother's books. However, knowing that their grandmother had given them to Lauren, his sister, who didn't even like to read, decided to take them for herself. He couldn't believe she would act in such a small-minded manner. Then he noticed something on the floor as he was about to leave the house. An outdated training bag was in the corner. There was only an old blanket with an odd striped pattern in it. Lauren could tell it hadn't been used in years by how dusty and stale it was. The filthy old blanket was not well received by Lauren's girlfriend. She washed it and hid it for 7 years in the closet. But all that changed one day. Lauren watched an episode of the Antiques Roadshow and one object caught his eye, a blanket that seemed strangely familiar. He listened to what the expert had to say about it. He was unable to move after hearing the expert's approximated cost of the blanket. He quickly went to the closet to check on the blanket to see whether it was the same. It was the same. The old blanket might be worth a lot of money, so Lauren immediately picked up the phone and called his fiancée to let her know. She was taken aback, but she was naturally skeptical because the blanket couldn't possibly be worth that much. He spoke with his mother, who just so happened to reside in Grandma's former home. She shared the same opinion about the blanket's value as his girlfriend. He requested from his mother for the box where she had stashed several old family pictures to get some background information. Using the photographs as a guide, Lauren quickly discovered what he was looking for. His great-great-grandfather was seen in one of the photographs, taken 150 years ago, working at a trading station in North Dakota. The blanket might have come from there, and if it did, it was undoubtedly worth more than his mother's estimate of $10. Then, in the hopes of receiving a precise appraisal of its value, Lauren took the blanket to a nearby pawn shop. The clerk wasn't in it and valued it at $50. Lauren left as he wasn't satisfied with the response. Lauren decided it was time to see a professional because he believed the blanket was considerably more valuable than $50. An online investigation led him to a family-run auction business. He was certain that someone there could assist him. Lauren knew he was in the right spot as soon as he arrived at the auction. Every shelf was crammed with unusual and intriguing antiques that were both valuable and unique. Lauren kept an open mind because he was accustomed to being let down. But Jeff's eyes widened when he spread the blanket out and set it down on his table. The blanket might be a fake, so he requested Lauren to describe how he came to own it. Jeff wasn't sure if he was the correct person to evaluate the blanket, so before offering a quote, he sought a second opinion. With Lauren's permission, he sent the blanket to the nearby university for additional investigation. The result came in a few days later. After all he had been through, all Lauren wanted was a quick break. He wanted the blanket to be valuable. Jeff called and requested that Lauren come in for a conversation. With his girlfriend, they went to meet him. Once there, Jeff gave a history lesson on the kind of blanket Lauren had. The blanket was priceless because, according to Jeff, the Navajo people produced their wool around the middle of the 17th century. Other tribes and the Spanish who purchased the blankets from the Navajo developed a taste for their complex designs. They were pricey, and only a select group of people could afford them. They were known as boss blankets. According to experts, the blanket would have cost about $150 in 1803, about the price of a $200 house at the time. And because Lauren's blanket was a first-phase blanket, it was exceptionally rare. It is estimated that only 50 first-phase blankets are still in existence worldwide. They are exquisite and intricate. Lauren wanted to sell it at an auction happening soon, and Jeff advised him to include the blanket in the collection. Word must have spread about the blanket because he got a call from an unknown caller who wanted to buy the antique for $200,000. To guarantee that Lauren would bring the blanket to the auction, Jeff gave him $9,000 in cash after learning about the offer. Lauren and his girlfriend were astounded by someone in the crowd. The dude from the Antiques Roadshow was there. Somebody had given the Navajo blanket a TV rating which impressed the expert. His blanket was up for bid at the opening of the auction for $150,000. Then someone put up their card for $200,000. Then, to Lauren's amazement, the pricing kept climbing. When the price eventually reached $900,000, the auctioneer pushed a $1 million bid. Lauren tightened his grip. But could it reach $1 million threshold? His joy, however, didn't last long. The auction and his payout were all over the news, and when his mother called, she told him that his sister was unhappy about the news. She thought the money was hers and planned to take Lauren to court. However, after calling his grandmother's lawyer, he learned she had no legal standing. The money was his. After years of financial difficulties, Lauren was finally able to breathe. He gave his girlfriend a dream wedding, invested in stocks, bought 2 homes, took his family, including the children, on a cruise to Mexico, and bought himself a Harley Davidson. His life had changed forever.